You came in, you bought a bottle of soda water for $0.50, and a dish of cracked ice for $0.25. And we always kept it good and warm because the ice had to melt fast. Long before the soda water would be gone, because you could linger with cold soda water, but you can't when it's warm.
Couldn't serve any booze, though. Right?
Oh, there was a prohibition was in effect, and there was no licenses. There were licenses that people had that were taken up when the Prohibition Act was passed by the Congress of the United States.
Well, where were they getting the spirits from to come into the club to mix with the setups?
They could buy that on the outside. There were people around in the neighborhood that sold pints and half pints of whiskey, gin, or whatever you wanted. There was plenty of good, pure whiskey available because the druggists, they sold the whiskey by prescription. So they would buy a pint of whiskey with a pint of alcohol and a pint of water, and you had 3 pints of whiskey. Tastes good. And when Prohibition ended, the people that we had working for us, lots of them saw potential and went in business for themselves because license became available to anyone that wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a citizen or another citizen, it didn't make any difference. The liquor board got together real fast, and they started giving these licenses out because the politicians wanted the inspectors to go to work. They had to have a job for them.
And the block sprung
And then the block
up
sprung up
from there.
From there on.
What were the shows like then?
Our shows were mild.
Has that made a real difference?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, it's really been, the law changed a couple years ago, but I was afraid to let the girls go topless. And the guys would say, what the hell's going on here? The block to me is home. I started working at the 2 O'Clock Club 20 years ago, and I've traveled all over, but I don't know, I just had to come back to the block and buy a club here, and I enjoy coming to work every night. We all look forward to coming to work, me and my family, the girls that work here. It's just home to a lot of not really lost people, but half of them are sort of lost people, traveling people. It's home to all of us, that's all. I've been asked to go different cities and open a club, especially Columbia. And I gave it some consideration. I said, no, I can't leave the block. The block needs me. I don't know if they need me or not. But I'm going to continue staying on the block and running my club. Well, it left me very bitter because suddenly, within 3 months, whatever happened down there happened. So I just closed my club and I said, before I'll change my shows any other way or operate any other way, I will just close and sit back and wait. So that's what I did. I've been doing a lot of the things I always wanted to do and never had the time to do, like skin diving and going down the river on a raft and all those things, all the things I wanted to do, but I'm tired of that now. Now I want to go to work and I want to find another place.
Can you really, lay out for us exactly what it is that's so distasteful now, as you said, the last 3 months?
The strangers. The strangers on the block, and I'm not saying club owners. It's not the club owners. Suddenly there's an element on the block that you look at and you think every minute, what are they going to do to me, or what are they waiting for? And you see big Cadillacs and Mark IIIs pull in on a side street, and you see strangers. And you say, well, these people don't belong here. What are they waiting for? And you can stay there maybe a half hour or 45 minutes, and nothing happens. They sit there. I don't know what they're waiting for.
So that
People will go get in a car and talk to them and get out. And even that is people I have never seen.
Mhm.
It's parts of other cities, I believe, moving downtown.
Well, if they're going to move it anywhere, they'll move it down Fort McHenry so everybody can get down and look at it. There won't be anybody go there. There's a block in every city in the United States. You start up at the Canadian border and come on down and you'll have a block. People that come into town don't want to sit in the hotel lobby. They want to go get through the convention or the meetings. They want to get out. Where are you going to send them? Down to Federal Hill?
Well, right now, the club owners that I knew very well all my life, for the last 20 years, they have passed on, or something has happened to them. They're fading out. Some of them I ask, where's such and such? Well, he passed away, or he had an accident, and that makes me very sad. And then especially when Sammy Goldstein was murdered, that made me very sad, because I know him and his family very well, and it makes you start to think it's time to move on. But I really miss the club, and I miss my customers, and I find myself dreaming that I'm doing my act, and I just can't wait to go back to work again.
The block is like any other place of business. It has good ones, and it has bad ones. Not all merchants that advertise in newspapers are good. Not all merchants advertise on your stations are holy.
But you don't see the block disappearing.
I can. Of course, you've got to be realistic. Eventually, it may be torn down. Until it's torn down, I don't think the block will ever move.
I would like to go back if I see that like I said, all the building that's being done, that there's going to be a new element of people downtown, and naturally the hotels will be full all the time. I stand a chance at putting my club back where it was, because it certainly went downhill with the other places when all the new people started hanging on the block.
You know, the block has been a discussion for years and years. One of the great architects of our time felt that the block should remain the city of Baltimore. And he reiterated this when we went up to New York the other day to get 2 awards for architectural perfection in the city. His firm again reiterates the block is an integral part of the city. You know, a number of years it's continually gone down. We've taken parts of it for buildings. We've made suggestions that the members of the block possibly would get together and form another area rather than dispersing all over the city. I think the block's future is in jeopardy because we're going to build more buildings in that area. We're going to improve that area, and possibly the block will be gone.
Well, the block is, of course, more than one block, and there are different portions of it. For instance, a block has already been taken for the police building. And there are other segments of it that I imagine would be whittled down. I don't foresee any massive plan to take the whole area of East Baltimore Street on both sides for, say, 3 blocks. That is the center of the entertainment district, to take that all at one time for some alternative use. There will probably be new uses that will be coming up maybe within the next few months for part of it, but I would imagine that something will be there, unless they all decide to relocate as a group, that there will be something there for another 5 or 6 years at least.
The movies were going down. There's potential for burlesque in Glen Burnie, with the location-wise, between Baltimore, Washington, Fort Meade. And that's why it's here. It's a money-making proposition.
The people themselves think it's not the kind of entertainment they'd like to be part of or have in their own backyard. They're upset about it.
Well, that varies. There's some people that are upset about it, and there's some people who like it. I've heard comments where they say that it's the best thing that's happened to Glen Burnie. And there are a few people that are upset about it, but to each his own.
Yes, it definitely was upsetting to all the residents of the community, and we done everything we could to discourage it coming in here. But of course, the things have to be, and they have to come in and see what's going on, and so they're here. And I don't believe that they're going to stay due to the fact that this isn't the area for this type of operation, because this is strictly a real fine residential area and fine people. And they don't go for this type of operation. So I think what it was just a trial run down here to see exactly whether they could make it. And I think they're finding out that they cannot make it here. And I think they're operating in the red every week, and you can't continue an operation like this. For instance, the X-Movie was the first one. It didn't go, so they changed it from X-Movie to Burlesque, and it isn't going. So I think it'll die of its own weight.
Now, there are those who will say, well, we'll just wait it out and it'll go away because Glen Burnie is basically a solid residential area. Do you believe it'll go away?
No, I don't think so. There's something else will move in, but I don't think it's going to go away.
You don't think it could thrive here then with local participation?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I don't think this is the area that anything of this type can survive.
the idea of burlesque in Glen Burnie wasn't to draw from the Glen Burnie area in general. The location of the theater in regards to Baltimore, Washington, Annapolis, Fort Meade is the whole idea of putting it here. We're close, and we have parking facilities.
Well, as I say, I don't think it will catch on. There isn't enough area here for them to spread out in the first place, and I don't think the people in the area will support it. So I don't see how it could really function as it gets any larger.
Because it's way outdated, you know. They need a newer concept, you know, of going about live entertainment, because live entertainment is dying with, you know, TV and movies. So I think people still really want live entertainment in their lives, but they want it a little different, like the block with the hustling is just, you know, turns people off. People don't want to be hustled, you know. They want to be entertained, but they don't want to be hustled.
So you say there's, what you're indicating, then there's still room for burlesque, but not in the form that it's on the block.
Right. It'll be, you know, like, I think it should, you know, everyone's just got to take a newer, you know, attitude, a new concept, and, you know, still, you know, have live performances, and people should, you know, enjoy this, but everyone's got to change their attitudes, you know. And people have to come and see when there are good shows to be seen. They should, you know, they have to support them by seeing them, you know. Burlesque is a good entertainment. It's been in existence for a long time, you know. I don't know if the people object to it or not, you know.
Is it a lucrative business?
It is lucrative. Yeah. I've been dancing for a year and a half, and I won't dance on the block because they don't want to pay any money anyway. But, and other than hustling, and I'm not into hustling, but the money is on the road, you know. I go to Canada, Newfoundland, and, you know, all on the road, different places, you know, through an agent, and the money is very good. You know.
Like how good?
In Newfoundland, I make $500 a week.
I could move one of many places, and through just through reading the papers when I didn't even give comments and I was out of town, I could go a lot of places. But I miss the block. I really miss it. And sometimes I just drive down and say, let's go see the funky old block, and me and my family will drive down the block, and then I feel all better. But I have been negotiating for a new club. And I tell you, and I'm not afraid to say, in Glen Burnie. I'd like to go out there and put on beautiful shows. And you see, all those people out there have nowhere to go. They go to these swanky restaurants, and believe me, there's some beautiful restaurants with beautiful clientele in Glen Burnie and on Ritchie Highway, because I've been to dinner myself out there. And after, I'd say, well, let's stop and have a few drinks. Well, where are you going to stop? And right now, I don't think anyone else is going to put burlesque in Glen Burnie, but the kind of burlesque I want to put is an entertaining show like a Las Vegas show. And then, of course, I'd have my Possum Holler Symphony on the breaks where I play my instruments, because that's what I really like to do.